The splash echoed through the luxurious backyard like thunder. Mrs. Adesuwa's arms flailed as she hit the water. Her shocked gasp cut short as she disappeared beneath the surface. Tina stood frozen at the pool's edge, her hand still extended from the push, her eyes wide with the realization of what she had just done. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the water, and for 3 heartbeats, the world seemed to stop. This was the moment that would change everything. But to understand how it came to this, we need to go back to where it all began just 3 days earlier. Raymond Okonkwo had always been a man who valued family above everything else. At 32, he had built a successful career as a financial analyst and maintained the kind of relationship with his mother that made other men envious. Mrs. Adesuwa had raised him alone after his father passed when Raymond was just 12. She had worked double shifts as a nurse, sacrificed her own dreams, and poured everything into making sure her son had opportunities she never did. Their bond was unbreakable, or so Raymond thought. Tina Martins entered Raymond's life like a summer storm, beautiful and intense. They met at a corporate networking event 18 months ago, and Raymond was immediately captivated. Tina was stunning, with designer clothes, perfect makeup, and the kind of confidence that turned heads. She worked in marketing for a luxury brand, and everything about her screamed success. For the first 6 months, their relationship felt like a fairy tale. But there were small things. The way Tina spoke to waiters with barely concealed contempt. How she rolled her eyes when Raymond talked about visiting his mother. The subtle comments about his mother being too involved in his life. Raymond brushed these aside, convincing himself that Tina just needed time to understand the depth of his family bond. The invitation came on a Thursday evening. Raymond and Tina were having dinner at her apartment when he brought it up. "Mom wants us to come spend the weekend at the house. She's been asking to meet you properly for months now. What do you say?" Tina's fork paused halfway to her mouth. She set it down carefully, composing her face into a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "This weekend? That's so sudden, Ray." "I know, but she's really excited. She wants to get to know the woman I've been talking about non-stop." Raymond reached across the table and took her hand. "It means everything to me, Tina. You're the 2 most important women in my life." Inside, Tina felt a flutter of anxiety mixed with irritation. The way Raymond talked about his mother made Tina feel like she was competing for his attention. But she also knew this was a test she needed to pass. If she wanted the ring, the wedding, and the lifestyle that came with being Mrs. Raymond Okonkwo, she had to play the part. "Of course, baby. I'd love to meet her." Saturday morning arrived with clear skies. Raymond drove them to his mother's house, a beautiful 2-story colonial with pristine landscaping. Tina hadn't expected this level of wealth. Mrs. Adesuwa opened the door before they could knock. She was a striking woman in her late 50s, with smooth dark skin, natural hair styled elegantly, and eyes that seemed to see right through pretense. "My Raymond," she said softly, embracing her son tightly. When Mrs. Adesuwa turned to Tina, her smile remained, but something shifted in her eyes. A mother's instinct, perhaps. "And you must be Tina. Welcome to my home." Tina extended her hand, but Mrs. Adesuwa pulled her into a brief hug instead. "We hug in this family." Up close, Tina caught the scent of expensive perfume. She felt immediately judged, though Mrs. Adesuwa's face showed nothing but warmth. They settled into the living room. Mrs. Adesuwa served fresh lemonade and homemade cookies, asking Tina about her work, her family, her interests. On the surface, it was pleasant, but Tina felt interrogated. Every question seemed designed to assess her character, her values, her intentions. "So your parents live abroad?" Mrs. Adesuwa asked. "Yes, they're in Dubai most of the year. Business ventures." Tina's tone suggested this was normal, even desirable. Mrs. Adesuwa nodded thoughtfully. "That must have been difficult, growing up without them around much." "I managed fine," Tina said, her voice cooling. "I learned to be independent early." "Independence is important," Mrs. Adesuwa agreed. "But so is connection, family bonds, the ability to put others before yourself." She said it kindly, but Tina heard the underlying message. That evening, Mrs. Adesawa prepared a feast. The dining room table was laden with traditional dishes, Nigerian cuisine prepared with love. "Let us give thanks," she said, bowing her head to pray. Raymond bowed his head respectfully. Tina, however, kept her eyes open, glancing at her phone under the table. When she looked up, she caught Mrs. Adesawa watching her. Their eyes met, and Tina saw the disappointment there. After dinner, Tina excused herself to make a phone call. She stepped out onto the back patio, overlooking the swimming pool. She dialed her best friend, Keisha. "Girl, this woman is impossible," Tina hissed into the phone. "She's been judging me from the moment I walked in. Everything is some test, some little evaluation. I'm so tired of women like her, acting like their sons are these perfect princes who need protecting." What Tina didn't know was that Mrs. Adesawa had stepped out to bring her a shawl and heard every word. She stood in the doorway, hidden by shadows. Her face remained calm, but sadness flickered in her eyes. She turned and walked back inside without saying anything. The next morning brought new tensions. Tina came downstairs late to find Raymond and his mother finishing breakfast. As she sipped coffee and scrolled through her phone, one of the house staff, a young woman named Grace, accidentally bumped her chair. A few drops of coffee spilled on the table. "Watch what you're doing," Tina snapped. "This is a designer outfit. Do you have any idea how much this costs? Probably more than you make in 6 months. If you can't do your job properly, maybe you should find another one." "Tina," Mrs. Adesawa's voice cut through the tirade, quiet but firm. "Grace, thank you. That will be all." The young woman hurried away. Mrs. Adesawa turned to Tina with steel beneath her gentle tone. "In this house, we treat everyone with respect, regardless of their position. Grace is a human being, not beneath you because she works here. If you want to build a home with my son, you need to start with humility. Pride and cruelty have no place in a loving household." Tina's face flushed. She looked to Raymond, expecting him to defend her, but he was staring at the table, clearly uncomfortable. Anger bubbled up inside her. "Excuse me," she said coldly, walking away. That night, Raymond confronted Tina in the guest room. "What's going on? You've been cold all day." "Your mother hates me," Tina said flatly. "That's not true. She's just protective." "Your values," Tina corrected. "Not mine. I think your mother's hold on you is unhealthy. You're 32 years old, and you still run to mommy every weekend." Raymond's face hardened. "My mother sacrificed everything for me. If you can't understand that, then maybe we need to reconsider this relationship." It was the first time Raymond had challenged her so directly. Tina softened her tone, reaching for him. "Baby, I'm sorry. I'm just stressed. Your mother is intimidating, and I want her to like me so badly." Raymond pulled her into his arms. "Just be yourself, but be respectful. Can you do that?" Tina nodded, but inside, her resentment grew. Sunday morning arrived with storm clouds gathering. Raymond had a work emergency and had to take a conference call. Tina found herself alone, wandering until she ended up by the pool. Mrs. Adesawa joined her, carrying 2 glasses of iced tea. "I thought you might like some refreshment." "Thank you," Tina said without looking at her. For a few minutes they stood in silence. Then Mrs. Adesawa spoke, her voice gentle but sad. "Tina, I want to be honest with you. I don't think you love my son. Not truly. I think you love what he represents. Security, status, a certain lifestyle. But love requires selflessness. It requires sacrifice. And I haven't seen that in you." Tina's hands clenched around her glass. "You don't know me. You've spent barely 2 days with me, and you think you have me all figured out." "A mother knows," Mrs. Adesawa said simply. "I've watched how you treat others, how you speak when you think no one important is listening. These things reveal character, and your character worries me for my son's future. So that's it." Tina turned to face her, anger flashing. "You've decided I'm not good enough, so you're going to sabotage our relationship?" "I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm being honest. If you truly love Raymond, prove it. Show humility. Show kindness to everyone, not just those who can benefit you. And who are you to say what he deserves? You're just his mother. You don't control him. Mrs. Adesuwa's expression remained calm. You're right. He will make his own choice. But I will not stand by silently while he commits himself to someone who will bring him pain. I'll speak to him this evening. He needs to know my concerns. Those words triggered something primal in Tina. The threat of exposure, of losing everything. She couldn't let this woman poison Raymond against her. Before she could think, she reached out and grabbed Mrs. Adesuwa's arm. You'll never control him again, she screamed, and she pushed. Mrs. Adesuwa stumbled backward, her arms windmilling for balance. Her foot caught on the pool's edge and she fell. The splash echoed. Tina stood frozen as Mrs. Adesuwa surfaced, gasping, then went under again. She struggled, her arms thrashing. Help! The word came out as a gurgle. Raymond! Tina's mind raced. What had she done? Panic and horror warred with self-preservation. She was paralyzed. Then Raymond was there. He dove into the pool fully clothed, reaching his mother in seconds. He pulled her to the surface, dragged her to the steps, got her out. Mrs. Adesuwa coughed and gasped, water streaming everywhere. Mom! Are you okay? Raymond's voice was frantic. Mrs. Adesuwa nodded, coughing. Raymond turned to Tina, his eyes wild. What happened? Did she fall? This was the moment. She was walking too close to the edge, Tina said, her voice shaking. I tried to grab her, but I couldn't reach in time. It happened so fast. Raymond looked between them. Mrs. Adesuwa was staring at Tina with profound sadness and disappointment. Let's get you inside, Mom. Raymond helped his mother up, supporting her as they walked. Tina followed, her heart pounding. What she didn't know was that the security camera mounted near the pool had captured everything. Every word, every gesture, every moment of that fatal push. Over the next few hours, tension filled the house. Mrs. Adesuwa changed into dry clothes but remained quiet, withdrawn. Raymond hovered, worried and confused. Tina maintained her story, even adding details about how she tried to save Mrs. Adesuwa. But Raymond couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. His mother wouldn't meet his eyes. When he tried to talk to her privately, she simply said, I'm fine, Raymond. Just tired. That evening, Raymond decided to check the security footage. He pulled up the pool camera, rewinding to the afternoon incident. What he saw made his blood run cold. The audio was crystal clear. Every word of the argument. Tina's venomous accusations. His mother's gentle responses. And then the push. Unmistakable, deliberate. Tina's hands on his mother's shoulders, shoving hard. His mother's shocked face as she fell. The way Tina had stood there, frozen, while his mother struggled. Raymond watched it 3 times. The woman he loved, the woman he'd been planning to propose to, had deliberately pushed his mother into the pool and then lied about it. His hands shook as he closed the video. How could he have been so blind? His mother had tried to warn him, and now everything was clear. By the time he emerged, it was nearly midnight. He found Tina in the guest room, scrolling through her phone. She looked up with a bright smile. Hey, baby, is your mom okay? The ease of her lie made him sick, but he kept his face neutral. She's fine. Actually, I was thinking, why don't we have a dinner party next weekend? At my place. Just close friends and family. I have something important I want to announce. Tina's eyes lit up. She thought she knew what was coming. A dinner party? That sounds perfect. Great, Raymond said flatly. Get some sleep. He left before she could see his face crumble. In the hallway, he leaned against the wall, tears streaming down his face. Before we continue, if this story is gripping you, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. What happens next is absolutely jaw-dropping, and you won't want to miss a single story like this. Drop a comment and tell me what you would do in Raymond's situation. The next week passed in a blur. Tina was thrilled about the upcoming dinner party, convinced Raymond was going to propose. She told her friends, picked out an outfit, even started planning the wedding. Raymond, meanwhile, moved through his days like a robot, his grief carefully concealed. He visited his mother twice. Raymond, she said during his second visit, you don't have to do anything because of what happened. If you love her. Mom, he interrupted gently. I saw the footage. All of it. I know what she did. I know what she said to you. Mrs. Adesuwa's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, my son. You have nothing to apologize for. You were right about her. I need you to come to the dinner party. Why? Because truth needs witnesses. And because I need my mother by my side when I do what I have to do. Saturday arrived. Raymond's house filled with guests. Tina played the perfect hostess, charming everyone. Her laughter bright. She wore a stunning dress, anticipating the proposal. Mrs. Adesuwa arrived quietly, and Tina's smile faltered when she saw her. But she recovered quickly, greeting her with exaggerated warmth. As dinner concluded, Raymond stood up, tapping his glass for attention. The room fell silent. Tina's heart raced with excitement. Thank you all for coming tonight, Raymond began. I asked you here because there's something important I need to share. Something that has changed my life and taught me a valuable lesson about love, trust, and discernment. Tina's smile widened. As many of you know, I've been dating Tina for 18 months. We've shared good times, and I thought we were building toward a future together. He paused. Last weekend, Tina came to meet my mother. But what happened that weekend revealed truths I had been blind to. The room was silent. Tina felt ice spreading through her veins. My mother tried to teach Tina about character, about treating others with respect. Tina responded by pushing my mother into a swimming pool. Gasps filled the room. All eyes turned to Tina, who stood frozen, pale. Raymond, that's not. It was an accident. Was it? Raymond pulled out his phone, connecting it to the large TV. Let's watch together. The security footage played for everyone to see. The argument. The push. Mrs. Adesuwa struggling while Tina stood frozen. Horrified gasps filled the room. When it ended, the silence was deafening. Tina's face crumbled, tears streaming down. Love without respect is poison, Raymond said quietly. My mother tried to tell me that beneath your charming exterior, there was cruelty, pride. You were willing to hurt the person who mattered most to me because your ego couldn't handle being challenged. Raymond, please, Tina whispered. I'm sorry. I was angry. You did mean it, he interrupted. And you lied about it. You looked me in the eyes and lied. That's not love, Tina. That's not even basic human decency. Tina looked around at all the shocked faces, the judgment in every pair of eyes. I think you should leave, Raymond said, his voice breaking. And I think you know we're done. Tina grabbed her purse and fled, her sobs echoing through the house. After the guests left, Raymond sat with his mother in the quiet house. She held his hand, saying nothing. I loved her, Mom, he said finally. How did I not see it? Because love wants to see the best in people, Mrs. Adesuwa said gently. It's not a weakness, Raymond. You just chose someone who wasn't worthy of that gift. You tried to tell me, and you listened when it mattered. That takes courage. The next few weeks were hard. The story spread rapidly. Tina became persona non grata. She lost her job, her friends distanced themselves. Social media was brutal. Tina found herself truly alone for the first time. She spent days crying, oscillating between self-pity and genuine remorse. Had she really been so terrible? Looking back with clear eyes, she began to see the pattern. The cruelty she'd dismissed as confidence. The selfishness she'd called independence. One afternoon, about a month later, she found herself at a community center hosting a food distribution. Without thinking, Tina approached. Do you need help? For the next 4 hours, Tina lifted boxes, sorted canned goods, helped families. Her nails broke. Her back ached. Her expensive shoes got dirty. And for the first time in months, she felt useful. Connected to something bigger than herself. A young mother approached her, a toddler on her hip. Thank you. My kids are gonna eat good this week because of folks like you. Tina felt tears spring to her eyes. When was the last time someone had thanked her so genuinely? She kept coming back. Week after week, Tina volunteered. She didn't tell anyone, didn't post about it. It wasn't for show. It was for her, for the slow rebuilding of a character she'd never bothered to develop. Several months later, Tina found herself face to face with Mrs. Adesuwa at a charity fundraiser. They both froze. The older woman looked at Tina with those penetrating eyes, and this time, Tina didn't look away. "Mrs. Adesuwa," Tina said softly, "I know I don't deserve your time, but I need to say this. What I did was unforgivable. I was cruel, selfish, and prideful. I hurt you because my ego couldn't handle the truth you were telling me. I'm sorry. Truly sorry." Mrs. Adesuwa studied her for a long moment. "I forgive you, Tina. I forgave you the day it happened. But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. You lost something precious because you didn't value it." "I know," Tina whispered. "I've been volunteering, trying to learn what you tried to teach me. About humility. About putting others first. I'm not the same person I was." "I can see that," Mrs. Adesuwa said gently. "Growth is painful but necessary. I'm glad you're finding your way. Is Raymond?" "He's healing. Moving forward. That's all I can tell you." Tina nodded, tears streaming. "Thank you for forgiving me, even though I don't deserve it. We all deserve forgiveness, child. But we also deserve the consequences of our actions. Learn from them. Become better. That's how we honor the pain we've caused." They parted ways, and Tina continued her journey of redemption, knowing that some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. But perhaps that was the point. Not every ending was meant to be happy. Some were meant to be lessons. If the story touched your heart and made you think about the power of humility and the consequences of pride, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever witnessed someone's pride destroy their life? What would you have done differently if you were Tina? Your engagement helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear this message today. Raymond eventually found peace. He continued his close relationship with his mother, grateful that she had tried to protect him even when he couldn't see the danger. He threw himself into his work and community service, focusing on becoming the man his mother had raised him to be. Sometimes late at night he thought about Tina, not with longing, but with a kind of sad understanding. She had been a lesson he needed to learn, about the difference between attraction and compatibility, between charm and character, between what glitters and what's truly gold. Mrs. Adesuwa recovered fully from the incident, both physically and emotionally. She never spoke ill of Tina to anyone, choosing instead to focus on the lessons the experience had taught both her and her son. She had always believed that people could change, could grow, could learn from their mistakes. But she also believed in protecting those you love from unnecessary harm. One evening, as Raymond and his mother sat on her porch watching the sunset, she said, "You know, my son, the hardest part of loving someone is knowing when to hold on and when to let go. I'm proud of you for choosing wisely." Raymond squeezed her hand. "You taught me everything I know about love, Mom. Real love. The kind that sacrifices, that protects, that tells the truth even when it hurts. Your father would be proud of the man you've become." They sat in comfortable silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple. In that moment, Raymond understood something profound. The right person wouldn't make him choose between them and his mother. The right person would understand that his capacity to love his mother deeply was evidence of his capacity to love them just as deeply. The right person would respect the foundation that made him who he was. Somewhere across town, Tina stood in the community center, handing out meals to families who needed them. She looked different now, less polished, less concerned with appearances. Her expensive clothes had been replaced with simple jeans and t-shirts. Her perfect nails were short and unpolished. But her eyes held something they never had before: genuine compassion. An elderly woman approached her, struggling with her bags. Without hesitation, Tina took them and walked her to her car. "God bless you, child," the woman said. "You have a kind heart." Tina smiled, and for the first time in her life it was genuine. She had lost everything, the boyfriend, the lifestyle, the social status. But in losing it all, she had found something more valuable. Herself. Not the manufactured version she'd presented to the world, but the real, flawed, growing version that was learning what really mattered. Pride had pushed her into deep waters, just as the narrator had said. But she hadn't drowned. She had learned to swim, not back to where she'd been, but forward to where she needed to go. The lesson was clear, written in the consequences of her choices. Character isn't what you show when people are watching. It's what you do when you think no one will ever know. It's how you treat those who can do nothing for you. It's the choice between ego and empathy, between pride and humility, between taking and giving. Sometimes life gives us exactly what we need, not in the form of blessings, but in the form of consequences. And if we're wise enough to learn from them, those consequences become the greatest teachers we'll ever have. As the sun set on this chapter of their lives, 3 people carried forward the lessons learned. Raymond, wiser about love and character. Mrs. Adesawa, grateful that truth had prevailed. And Tina, forever changed by the moment her pride led to her downfall, but ultimately to her redemption. The swimming pool incident became more than just a scandal. It became a mirror, reflecting the truth about who they all really were. And in that reflection, each of them found exactly what they needed, even if it wasn't what they wanted.